And so now let's shift a little bit more to health. I know that you and I probably can have a good conversation regarding this. So I started my journey at 240 pounds, and the consequences I was hit with very quickly was a blood pressure issue, was the prediabetes, was the insulin, all these different factors. And the other thing that I found was very difficult was moving in and having a low quality of life. So given these consequences, I want to get your perspective on what it is you think is the biggest barrier to enter into health and fitness for CEOs and founders.
Okay, so let's talk first about behavioral change techniques. So part of my training with the National Academy of Sports Medicine is about behavioral
Mm-hmm.
changes. There are techniques, for example, habit stacking. So for an individual, we'll talk about first, and then we'll talk about the habit stacking for CEOs for the entrepreneurial path. If we are barraged by marketing and advertising for all the latest gadgets and the ease for a sedentary life. Remember, I grew up in a world where you had to get off your ass on the sofa and turn the dial on the TV. You're a little younger. You've had a remote control in your world. And now with the phone, you don't even have to push a button.
Yeah.
You can just like talk to it and it'll change the freaking channel, right? So the game becomes how you create change and you motivate people to get moving like you did. Is it aspirational for their own future health? Is it for aesthetics? Is it because they have a new relationship in their life? Do they want to be able to be an example that's positive for their children? Whatever the motivation is, you can start with some simple habits. Get up, drink 6 ounces of water. Make sure you turn off, before you do anything else, turn off your phone and the TV at least an hour before you go to bed. Try and, compress for some alternate intermittent fasting. Days where you eat within 8 hours. Like you just start with a few things that are not like life-changing that can be done. And those can build on each other, which is called the habit stacking. Now,
Mm-hmm.
for a CEO, not that much different. If there's inertia, which is the sedentary mindset of the human experience, can also set in for the CEOs where they found a way to make money. And they've done it
Mm-hmm.
a certain way. And it's kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, how about no one sells single serve stick packs of freeze dried kale? Fine. I didn't come to that from my studies at UPenn, taking Wharton business classes while I was getting my master's degree as an architect. It came to me
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to have it for myself. And I thought, if I want it, maybe 1 or 2 other people or 10,000 or 1 million want it too. So getting
Mm-hmm.
the CEO mindset into disrupting is not necessarily like the Elon Musk, Starlink, the genius of like connecting the web through, the atmosphere. Great. That's a big lift. SpaceX catching rockets. Pretty impressive. I'm talking about small moves in sectors like this food space, where
Mm-hmm.
once you do research, I would encourage all the entrepreneurs to think outside of the box critically about their sector. So, for example, I was on a 3-decade path with buildings for sustainability, solar power, and transportation too, to try and make an impact on the environment. Only learned that the combination of the buildings and the cars was about 20% of greenhouse gas contribution versus
Mm-hmm.
24% for food. So all that work that I was thinking was on the right path was fine, but not as potentially effective as an ROI as the sector
Mm-hmm.
of the food production space. And anyone listening who's an entrepreneur, there may be something that is a sibling, a tangent to what you're currently doing to explore, right? Because I didn't
Excellent.
change everything. I was
Yeah.
growing the food with the lights. So then it became growing the food with the lights and freeze drying and finding organic farms that were outdoors to freeze dry and just pivot. That little pivot is, they call it in business, making the wheel rounder. You're not changing the whole wheel, but it's the ask
Mm-hmm.
for the CEOs to pause in a handful of moments. Is it once a month you have a lunch with someone that is in a parallel business, just to explore what they're doing and almost push yourself to learn things that aren't part of your direct vertical for
Mm-hmm.
business, and open some doors.
Absolutely.